Today's live stream is about different problems and recovery time, and I want to specifically focus on the hairline. So we can just get started, and afterwards I will take up the questions that you have been asking in the chat as well. So if you have questions, then you can just drop in the chat and I will answer them afterwards on our live stream. All right, so basically I want to start with my recovery process when I first started to block DHT by finasteride, and those are basically pictures from 2008 to 2010. So basically I started with finasteride in October 2008, and this is my situation back then. As you can see, basically I had quite thin temples, and also the same applies from my crown or vortex area as well. Right? You can see basically that there is a lot of thinning going on. And basically what happened next is that like this picture here around 4 months later, like you can see already around 4 months later, like 3.5, 4 months, I would say, you can see that my hair started to improve. Right? By taking finasteride and blocking the DHT, you can see that things start to improve compared to where it was. Right? And the same with overall view of my hair itself. Structure would become better, and I started picking it up compared to where it was. So, and basically that progression continued. This is around 7 months results. And again, if you want to know more about my timeline and more specific pictures about it, you can check my videos about finasteride that I made in the past. There is 2-part video about finasteride where I break it down basically 2 first years of taking or blocking DHT and what results I was able to get. So basically what happened is that my hair keep ticking up, and I ended up getting this kind of hair. So this is basically just by finasteride, diet changes, supplements so that I did take at that time, and all those things basically helped me to gain this kind of hair from basically from this situation here. I was able to get to this one here. Right? And again, this did take me 24 months to arrive to this stage here from this situation here. So it was basically quite a long time, but you can see that as time went by, my hair got better and better. Right. So this is basically results on hairline and temples from finasteride. All right, and this is my situation from the dutasteride. And basically what happened here is that I was having scalp inflammation, and because of scalp inflammation, I was losing ground. And basically what happened is that I had to basically address and solve scalp inflammation. And when I had done it, I also did take finasteride, dutasteride, and this is my 4 months results of the dutasteride. So basically, I went from this situation here to this situation here. Right? And you can also see that my vortex area, if it's like it's also started filling. So basically, my point here is that for me, blocking DHT has been quite effective to kind of thicken up the hair, and it works very well. As long as I don't have any underlying problems that could cause any issues. All right, so let's move to the next one. Here is basically my timeline of nutritional deficiencies. Right? In my case, basically it was poor diet and vitamin or nutrition deficient vitamin D, for example. Basically, this is my hair when I first noticed that there was something going on, and it went to this stage here. Then I went to the doctor and found out that I had deficiency vitamin D. And basically around 6-7 months later, I was able to recover my sides. Right? And this is basically a year later. So you can see that I was able to recover it, and it went quite quickly as well. And this is when I was in my early 20s. And this is part of inflammation. Right? And basically what happened here is that I had my peak results from finasteride. And then I got scalp inflammation, and because of scalp inflammation, I've started to lose ground again. Right? And basically, the difference between this picture here and this one here is around 1 month's time. And you can see basically in 1 month's time, I was going from dense and thick here to this situation here, right? In just 1 month time. So inflammation can happen very fast, and it basically affects the whole growth cycle and causes to become weak and thin out rapidly, basically. And what happened next is that my situation just got worse. Like this is around 4 months into scalp inflammation. Right? So basically I went from this guy here with a tick here, so that I was able to gain from finasteride to this situation here. Right? And basically what happened next is that I did start with the dutasteride at this stage and solve my scalp problems or address my scalp problems, and I was able to recover to this stage here. So this is basically my scalp inflammation problem in 2011. What happened next is that I again got scalp inflammation in 2012. Basically, it happened because of different factors like a sunburn on my scalp. You can see redness here and different other issues. But basically, I ended up having like a quite heavy scalp inflammation again. A bit different types than first time, but it was quite serious, and I started thin out. I mean, you again can see that my hair did get affected by it, and basically when I started to gain a control again, I was able to have some recovery, right? And again, it was quite stressed for my hairs, but I was able to recover to this stage here. Like at this stage, I was able to solve my scalp inflammation. So again, I went basically all the way by all the things that was happening in my scalp because of scalp inflammation to this stage here. And I was able to recover from it. And here is basically my situation when I was having hair loss from the stress. And basically what happened is that my hair already was quite weak and affected by different things in my scalp. And at that time I was not blocking DHT. And basically what happened is that I also got out of stress because of the studies, because of the job situation. And basically what happened is that I started to thin out quite rapidly, right? And basically when one is having stress-related hair loss, then hair basically falls out all around the scalp, and plus they are also weak and become weaker as time goes by. Right? And you can see basically what happened to my hair during that time. So, and this is basically a couple months later when I started with finasteride, first time. So. And here is a picture of me when I was basically still making hair regrowth with minoxidil and microneedling. Basically, here is my situation when I first started. At that time, I had solved my scalp problems, so I was basically having control of the situation regarding my scalp environment. And I started with microneedling and minoxidil, and basically this would happen. I was able to fill it in, and for me, it did take around 7-8 months to get to this stage from this picture here. But they keep improving, right? And basically what happened is that I got more and more hair as time went by, and basically it keeps improving on a monthly basis, right? And basically this one here is a peak results of microneedling and minoxidil after around 24 month mark. So, right. So this is the situation. So. And here is the issue when I was having dermatitis. And again, dermatitis and inflammation is not the same thing, right? Because we have different types of dermatitis and we have different types of inflammation. And sometimes it can happen in combination as well, right? So basically we need to be aware of those factors. But in this kind of case, I was having dermatitis. And what happened is that I was having a hair thinning on my temples. You basically can see, guys, that I was thinning quite rapidly here in the temples. And it started to become quite empty, right? And basically when I solved my dermatitis problems at that time, I was able to fill it in again. And this is like a 6-7 months timeline. So I went to this stage here from this situation here. And I also wanted to once again show you this picture here. And basically, just to illustrate difference between results from finasteride or blocking DHT compared to results from minoxidil, right? Because thing is that when you block DHT, you thicken up your hair. When you use minoxidil, you actually grow back your hair. Right? That's basically a difference. And basically this picture here illustrates quite well, right? Because I was able to have very good results from minoxidil, finasteride, by thickening up my hair, right? But you can also see that I still had that V-shape form, right? So basically this is how my hairline was looking from finasteride. And this is different from what I was able to get from minoxidil, because from minoxidil basically, let's say if I zoom it out again, from minoxidil basically I was able to get straight hairline, right? Right, so it's quite different compared to finasteride hairline. So basically my point here is that if you are having trouble and you want to grow back, for example, empty areas that have been empty for quite some time, then doing a combination is most likely much more effective. Right? But if you have, for example, early stages hair loss, then blocking DHT can also be enough to thicken up the hair and basically stop the progression in the future, as long as you don't get any underlying problems like I did. So this was basically presentations that I want to hold for you guys for today's live stream. I can check out if there are any questions you have been asking to me for today. Tommy asks about what gains was caused by finasteride only. By finasteride only was basically, once again, the gains that I showed in those pictures. Let's take this one here. All right, this is basically gains from finasteride only. All right, and just to take it back again, here is results from finasteride oil only. So, and again, I did diet changes that time. I did take supplements that time. So I did multiple things, and I also improved my lifestyle, right? Because back then, when I was first starting with finasteride, I was overweighted. I was quite depressed about my situation, and basically, when time went by, I started to address different areas of my lifestyle, not just about hair loss, but also my lifestyle. So basically, what happened here is that I actually went down around 20 kilo to this stage here from when I was quite heavy in the past. But yeah, this is results from 0.5 mg of finasteride. All right. Question about what dose I do take regarding finasteride. I take 0.5, right? And I've been basically doing it for well, for the last 14 years, 0.5 daily. I have tried to step it up, also step it down, but basically for me it is kind of the same, right? For me, most effective is actually 0.5. So. Question about how to address scalp inflammation, so that I can start with dermarolling. Like again, you need to find out basically what is causing your scalp inflammation in the first place, like what type of scalp inflammation you're having and what is causing it, right? And this is how you address it. Like you can, of course, try to kind of ease it up or relieve it by, for example, applying aloe vera or doing a ketonazole shampoo or possibly steroid cream or something, right? But this is not solution, right? You actually need to work on find out what is causing your inflammation in the first place, and by doing so, you need to address it and find out, of course, what kind of inflammation there is actually going on your scalp, right? And when you have done it and solved it, then you can start with microneedling, and it should be fine. Question about from Nell about do I shampoo every day before minoxidil application? Yes, I do, right? Because I want to have a clean scalp and apply minoxidil to have most effect from it. Right? I don't want to have any buildups, any dirt or any sebum on my scalp when I apply minoxidil, because those things can interfere and basically make it less effective. So I want to have a clean scalp when I apply minoxidil. Question about do you still count hairs or do you just look at your hair for progress? I don't count the hairs, like, because the thing is counting hairs, it can become quite stressful, and I would suggest not doing it. Right? It's a bad habit. So, like you can count in the beginning and basically check kind of timeline of how things are going, like that the amount of the hairs that are shedding out becomes less, but afterwards basically it should be fine. You shouldn't count those hairs. Question about if possible grow back 4 years ago here, like basically if you have had a hair loss for 4 years and you want to grow the back those hairs that you lost 4 years ago, yes, it is possible. Basically, in some cases one can go even back 7-8 years. But again, it depends on what is causing your hair loss in the first place, what is basically happening in your scalp, how long things have been going on, right? So there are multiple factors one needs to take into the context and consideration before one can determine how far one can go back, but 4 years should be fine. So. The question about natural DHT blockers like stinging nettles and green tea to block DHT. Yes, it is possible, right? And again, it depends on how long ago hair loss did start in the first place, right? What is causing it, and how aggressive it is and how sensitive one is actually to DHT, right? Because I personally, I'm very sensitive to DHT, and it is because I did a lot of different things to my hair follicles in the past, basically by having nutrition deficiencies, by having a poor diet, by having a lot of stress, bad sleep patterns, not healthy lifestyle. All those things basically weaken my hair follicles, and that's why they are much more sensitive to DHT. And then I actually have to block DHT by finasteride. Right? But basically, for some of you guys who actually are starting out or having hair loss just recently, and your DHT sensitivity is not that high, it could be possible to address it with natural DHT blockers, of course. Question about what do you think about metal supplements? Like again, it is a DHT blockers that blocks around 30 to 40% of DHT, and it can work, right? If your hair loss is in early stages and not too advanced, and basically you just want to stop the progression, then blocking it, for example, with metal or other DHT blocker like metals, DIN, pygium can work just fine. So, all right. I'm taking finasteride for 1 year, but I didn't get results in my hairline. Yeah, that basically means that there is something more to your hair loss that is not addressed, because you should be able to thicken up the hair, like I showed in the pictures in the past. When I had solved my scalp problems, I was able to get results from finasteride and even finasteride very fast. Right? So it basically comes down to either your underlying problems or your hair cycle is not strong enough, right? Because then you basically need to strengthen your hair cycles. What about lifestyle changes? What do you did to help inflammation, sports style, sun exposure? Yes, I did basically all those things, right? Because the lifestyle is important, right? We want to have a lot of stress. We want to have a good sleep patterns, and basically, when it comes to inflammation, we want to be sure that there is no inflammation in the scalp, but we need to find out what kind of inflammation actually is there on the scalp, right? Because if we don't know what inflammation is there on the scalp, then it's very hard to solve it, right? So basically, we need to find out what kind of inflammation there is actually going on the scalp and take the right measures to solve it. So, and again, inflammation can be caused by internal factors, can be caused by, for example, diet, for example, trigger foods, or something one is sensitive to, and it affects the skin and causes inflammation, or it can be the skin itself externally, right? Or it can be a combination, like I had it in the past. All right, and basically regarding sports, definitely, like what I notice is that when I do cardios, for example, a cardio sport like a biking or running, for example, my hair shedding also decreases. With weightlifting, it's not that big impact regarding my hair shedding, but with cardio, I noticed that actually if I do cardio over longer time periods, then actually it helps me my shedding rates. All right. Do you do scalp massage daily? No, I don't do it daily. I do it a couple times a week. It's not something I do daily. A question about how many months do you change dermal roller? It kind of depends on what type of dermal roller you're having, because we have titanium rollers and we have stainless steel needle rollers. And if you're using titanium rollers, then they are more durable. You can, for example, use one titanium roller for up to 6 months. But if you have stainless steel needles, then you basically need to change it, for example, every 2-3 months, right? Because what happens is those steel needles, they become less sharp quite quickly compared to titanium. But the advantages of titanium, like stainless steel needles, are less likely to cause any scalp problems compared to titanium. And the other thing is that titanium is more hard to clean, right? So compared to stainless steel needles. So I personally prefer to use needles that are from steel, not titanium. So. Yeah, let's see. In your last video, you said you only microneedle lightly to help to absorb minoxidil. So basically, the question is it okay to draw small amounts of blood when microneedling? I use dermometer too. Yes, if there is small punctures and just few, then it's most likely okay. Right? But again, when I do microneedling, I have maybe 1 or 2 punctures as I see in my temples. And that's basically all, right? There's no bleeding, just a bit redness. That's also. Question: when you go to sleep, like my sleep patterns lately has been affected by basically by things I do regarding my lifestyle, regarding follow-ups with the guys in the program who are different time zones. But what is most important is that you have a long sleep, right? That you have rested enough. If it's possible, then of course it would be best to go sleep around 11, 12 and wake up around 6:30. That would be the best option, right? But if it's not possible, then option B is basically having a sleep that is enough, so you actually feel kind of fresh when you wake up in the morning. So, all right, guys. Any more questions? And by the way, I can also say one more thing. As I meant, if you have more questions here, guys, is that I just want to show this one here. I think it's quite interesting. So basically, this is my page for a Regrowth formula workbook, and what I have basically done is that I have added all the results you're sending to me in the email or in chat or the Skype, for those who have my Skype ID, and adding them here. Right? So you basically can see how many of you guys actually are seeing results from Regrowth formula workbooks. So I'm super happy about it. I'm super excited about it. So basically, if you have time for it, check it out this page. So. All right. Let's see if there's more questions in the chat. Let's see, I can take a few more questions here. How many grams of protein a day do you take to start regrowth? Like you need to find out your body weight. You need to find out how much protein is actually required from your body mass, lean body mass, and calculate the number, right? And basically, to give you kind of example, I would say around 100 grams, depending on your body weight, lean mass, basically what you're having, but around 100 grams a day should be fine. So, and if you want to have it more specifically, then ideally you should calculate it. So. All right. My question about, have you heard about scalp scrapping? I heard some people take a small blunt object to scrub the top of the scalp and get rid of buildups and other minoxidil flakes. Like again, guys, I would suggest to get a scalp exfoliator like this one here. Right? If you are having problems with scalp, then definitely get this one here. I can show you this one. This is something that I have been using, and I would recommend definitely getting it if you are having this build-up problem, right? Because it is super effective to address it. So let's yeah, this one here, it's a Kitsch scalp exfoliator, right? And I myself, I bought it on 27th of March, and I've been using it. And it's 6 USD, but it is worth it, right? And basically, what I do is that I use it 2 to 4 times a month to basically remove buildups, because I find it more effective for minoxidil flakes and regular pad brushes that I used in the past. So this one here is definitely something to look into if you are having build-ups problem, right? And I can add a link in the chat if you want to find it. 1 second. So this one here is the link for it. Add it in the chat now. No. All right, so this is basically if there is more questions, guys, let me know before I'm in the chat. All right, you got the link, it's fine. Question about combination of dermal roller, minoxidil, and finasteride can regrow hairline? Yes, it can, right? Basically, this will happen to me, right? But again, you need to be sure that you have addressed all the underlying problems to be able to do so. I think if you have done it and basically getting results from it, it shouldn't be a problem. So. All right, and let's take last question here. Is conditioner not good, only shampoo? Like ideally, I would say the shampoo, just shampoo is best, right? Because we want to apply as little on the scalp as possible. And if you need to use conditioner, then basically it means that there is either there is some underlying problems that are happening, or you are using wrong shampoo for your hair type, right? Because we have to use a shampoo that is right for our hair type and right for our skin type. Right? This is important. We want to basically use shampoos that do fit with our like personalized scalp environment and is not unbalancing anything on it. So right, this is important. So you need to basically have a shampoo that is for your skin and your hair type. So, and I have spoken about previous videos as well. Like, so basically you can just search them up on YouTube. So like if you guys wonder how to search up videos, you can just do it this way here. I can show it on the scroll. Yeah, so basically if you have, for example, you want to find a video about something that I have spoken about before, so you can just search it up here, right? You can search it up, for example, let's say minoxidil. And basically it will show all the videos that I have made about minoxidil, right? How to apply minoxidil, what you need to avoid regarding minoxidil, results, minoxidil, basically everything that is related to this thing here. So easily you can find it by searching on my channels. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Medova says, thank you, Alex. Love your content. Please keep it coming. Awesome. Kunwar, thank you, sir. Looking forward to buy your program and regrow under your guidance and get my hair back. Awesome. Question from Pond: is a peeler you send a link better than the comb for peeling? It kind of depends on what you're using, right? Because the one that I showed you, this scalp exploder here, it is awesome for buildups from minoxidil. Right? So basically, if you have buildups from minoxidil, then using this one here is a very good option. Right? If you have, for example, you want to stimulate hair follicles and you want to rebalance oil production, and you want to have like a more light cleaning of the scalp, and basically regular shower brush, like let's say this one here, is good as well. And that's something I've used for a long time myself. Right? This one here is something new that I added to my plan a couple months ago. So, like basically this one here, for example, so there's that. No, this style here, for example, I also added it in this workbook as well. Like this style pad brush is awesome for regular brushing, regular shower brushing, for example. But if you have a resistant buildups, like for example, minoxidil, then the scalp exfoliator that I showed in the previous slide is better. Right? So this one here is good for regular brushing, regular buildups, rebalancing oil production. It is good and it's quite gentle for the hair and doesn't pull out compared to, for example, other more invasive methods. So, for you guys, if you wonder or want to get hold of this brush here, I can add the link for it as well, so in the chat. So. The other ones. And to answer your question, basically, I would suggest to have both of them, right? Basically, have a peeling brush on this one here as well. So you basically address it from two different angles. So. Question about what foods besides sugar cause inflammation, personally in your situation. Again, there is many things that can cause inflammation. You need to basically listen to your body, what body says, on how it reacts to different things, right? And basically, if you eat something, for example, when I consume sugar, or in the past when I was having scalp problems, I would have increased tension on my scalp, right? And that's basically a marker that something is wrong, right? And the same with other foods. For example, if you eat something or drink something and you notice that scalp or skin gets worse, or your overall feeling on the body gets worse, or digestion gets worse, then you know that it's most likely not the right food for you, right? And those foods kind of they vary for each of us. Like if you want to have more guidance about it, then basically check out the Regrowth formal workbook, because I have added sections there with specific foods that often are causing problems, right? And how to actually determine what foods are okay and what foods are not okay, if you want to have more information about it. So, all right. Okay, I will take last question here before we end today. And basically, how much dose of finasteride do you take a day? I take 0.5. Right? That's the amount I take on a daily basis. So. All right, guys. So yeah, thanks for attending for today, and for you guys who are looking to know more about my program or get hold of me about joining it, here is a link for it. You can schedule a call here. And basically, what happens in the program compared to formal workbook is that I actually have a personalized plan for you guys who join the program with addressing specifically issues you're having. Right? And basically, having a personalized plan will help to get results faster. That's the difference, basically. So, and the last question I can take from Ginny, basically about spicy foods. Is it okay or not? Again, it depends on each one of us, but spicy foods in general can cause additional problems on the scalp. Basically, for some, it can increase itchiness, for example. And when I was having problems with my scalp, basically what happened is that if I ate spicy foods, it just made my inflammation worse. Nowadays, I can eat spicy foods, but it is not a problem, right? So basically, it depends on context. All right, guys. So that's basically all. And